don't want to keep forgetting to bring this up. I love Mina and The Count. That was one of my favorite. When I saw that first short, I was like, holy shit, I'm getting Halloween every single day. That's what I'm getting right now because it's my favorite holiday. Being a chunky little kid, I like going, door to door asking. Frankenstein's my favorite monster. Just going around asking for candy and stuff like that, right? Or Frankenstein's monster is my favorite monster. And I loved I loved the colors specifically when he jumped out of the window trying to go to the sorority house and all that other stuff. It was blue background, that white screen and then the moon and everything. It was just so beautiful. It was so different, right? And I remember looking at it as a little kid, knowing, man, this is a lot different than the other cartoons that I was watching at that time. It's like this felt different. I don't know if it was just because it was monsters or if it was something along those lines.
It was because I was incredibly original. No, it was because I was looking back at UPA and that was a huge influence on us, but there was influence on Craig and the design of Dexter, and influence on Genndy, especially the way the kind of stylized animation that UPA had. So it was a huge influence on all of us, but I really looked at those things in terms of how they did color. And that is one thing I did on the original Mina and The Count, was the color script for that short. Looking at the UPA and being influenced by that, I kind of came up with the colors for the whole first pilot. So that was something I was trying to make it. I was very, very, very heavily influenced by them, and I was trying to do something that would be worthy of those old cartoons. So thank you for those compliments. Yeah, Mina was my my firstborn. I thought it would be my show. That's a whole nother podcast, all the ups and downs that went through, because it almost became a middle cartoon for Dexter. Then it almost became a Saturday morning cartoon at Disney. Then it almost became a show at Nickelodeon, where I did 5 more pilots with it. And then it didn't become a show. But because it didn't become a show, that's why I did the pilot for Teenage Robot. The pilot I did for Teenage Robot, that slot was originally supposed to be the 6th episode of Mina and The Count for Nickelodeon. But they were so freaked out by the idea of a vampire and a little girl being best friends that they didn't want any more after I'd done 5. So they canceled the last one. And Fred Seibert said, well, Rob's still going to get that slot. Let's see what else he can come up with. And that's when I invented Teenage Robot. So Mina had to die so that Jenny could live, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I'm not as well versed in Teenage Robot as I'd love to be. It's one of those ones that I watched, but I only watched the entire series when it was on one time. And with the advent of Paramount Plus,
if only everybody had watched it one time, then I would have been in better shape.
I love how cynical you look at things, man. I like
whatever. I'm not. If I'm not bitter in any single way. I am cynical for sure, but no. Like, look, the reason I love that show, it was very stressful. When they said they weren't picking me up for a 4th season, I was crushed. But then I was very happy, because it meant that work was going to come to an end, because it had swallowed my whole life. It was, luckily I was married to my wife, because otherwise, if she was my girlfriend, she probably would have left me. But she did not see me. She did not see me on weekends for a good 2 years. I literally worked 7 days a week, not around Christmas, but that was about it. I worked 7 days a week for a couple of years trying to get that thing up on its feet. And when we kind of had the crew humming along, and I felt like, well, we're starting to get somewhere. I got good board artists. I got everybody in place. The ratings were good enough, and they canceled us. So, I don't think I would have wanted to do it for SpongeBob amount of time. I wanted to do a 4th season, and then I wanted to be done, but we got 3 seasons instead. And it still has a lot of fans, and I'm happy that people seem to appreciate it. But I wish it had been better rated at the time. The ratings are what sunk it. So